everybody, and welcome to another edition of the SoCal Prep Report. Richard Stray along with Randy Rosenblum and Bob Gibson. Happy you joined us today. Basketball playoffs, fellas. It's down to the end of the line, championship weekend. But then it starts all over for state. And plus the wrestlers, too. State qualifiers for Southern California were this past weekend. We're going to touch on some of the champions as we go along. But, fellas, the big story this week, Douglas, the former Narbonne head coach, ends up at St. Bernard's.
I'm actually happy for Manuel Douglas. I know he's had his trials and tribulations at Narbonne. He won 9 city titles. He had one of them vacated, so officially 8. He had all these issues with the Gauchos and where they were coming from. But, you know, he was put in purgatory for a while. He's now out of jail, and he gets the job at St. Bernard after coming to some kind of grip, some kind of agreement with the LAUSD, and I'm happy for Manuel Douglas.
Well, I'll tell you already, I mean, how many names have been talked about as transfers into St. Bernard already? Kids leaving en masse, Jay Serra down in San Juan Capistrano. Another kid I just read I'm rolling.
He's got one
Twitter
from Westlake,
I know that.
Yeah.
There you go. That was the other kid I just saw that supposedly is a nice player, transfer into St. Bernard. So the players are going to be there.
Yeah.
We know Manuel Douglas can coach football, so I don't think it's going to take St. Bernard's too long to get on the map here in the southern section.
Fellas, on the other side of it, what about all the eyes are going to be on this guy?
Well,
They're all going to be on St. Bernard. You think the guys in that league are just going to let this thing go?
Well, and he has to know that, right? I mean, you know, we're talking about the southern section. You know, the city section where the resources maybe aren't quite as robust as I should
say the least.
put it than the southern section. So, yeah, I think he knows. He's going to be under a microscope.
He's going to be under a microscope. There. You know, there was a lot of serious allegations made against Coach Douglas and some of the administrators over at Narbonne. Serious enough to where a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people were that close to retirement and getting a fat pension, and they lost their job.
You got to remember, in the southern section, they're a lot more liberal with transfers and things of that ilk. So I don't think they'll be that tight on him. I think he'll be okay. He understands the rules. He'll understand the restrictions. I look for Manny to get it done quickly. I think they'll become a playoff team immediately and a southern section powerhouse in the next couple of years.
Well, they're pretty good already, weren't they?
Did you just see rules and restrictions on transfers in the southern section?
There isn't. It's wide open now, baby.
That's what I'm saying.
They're going to be sitting out half the season. It's going to be like at Narbonne. Your team's okay, but once that 6th week kicks in, you're going to be really good. Because that's when all the transfers
Southern
get
section
to play.
just threw their hands up and said, you know, we're tired of all the lawsuits. We're just going to basically say, you can go where you want to go. And that's really what it's become.
Well, that's my point. There's really no issues there. So they can just come in there, and he's already got a few already that'll be there from the beginning of the year, and I'm sure he'll load up and get a few more. St. Bernard's will be very good.
Don't forget, we have coaches on record saying, kids should be able to transfer anywhere they want to go. So, I mean, that's,
you ever notice those guys that are quoted saying that, Bob? They're all at pretty big schools with parochial powerhouses.
That's a good point.
Come on, man. It's like a thirsty guy wanting all the water, man. Come on.
I don't know if it's a mess or what it is, but St. Bernard's got themselves a good football coach, and they've got some good players on the way to that school. So
stay tuned.
We haven't talked a lot about St. Bernard's, I don't think, in recent years as a football power, but I think that's about to change.
Yeah, I think they'll be above 500 initially, maybe make a run at a playoff. Again, Manuel Douglas has been a winner for such a long time at Narbonne, really built that program. Remember when he got there, Narbonne was okay, but it wasn't Carson. It wasn't a program like that. Carson and Banning were the schools, and then he took over the Marine League and became this ultimate powerhouse and really was the school in the LA City section.
So I'll never forget that highlight when they beat Pauley 50-0. Wasn't it 50-0 to start the season?
I worked the game,
yes,
50-0. It was unbelievable. Long Beach Pauley couldn't get the ball to the 50-yard line.
50-0.
You
know who was on that team for Pauley? Juju Smith.
I know he was.
You guys are crazy, man. Why are you digressing?
That was a good Pauley team that Narbonne beat.
It's going to be an interesting.
By the way, that Pauley team won a Southern Section championship
and a state title, I believe. Yeah.
Like I said, it's going to be an interesting season to watch. What's going to go on at St. Bernard's, man? Listen, I just don't know. I mean, again, all the allegations that were made. I mean, grade changing. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, you can't hide that stuff. That stuff's going to come out eventually if that stuff's going on at St.
It's one kid apparently who got into the computer and changed a grade, and even that is not.
Is that the story,
Yeah,
Randy?
that's the story I'm going with, and I'm not even
right.
sure if that's a true story.
Fair enough.
All right. I heard 30 different versions of that.
Of
But
course.
I'll go with that's a new one. That's 31. Got
right,
31.
31,
now.
right.
All right, enough of this nonsense. Let's get into the basketball. Manuel Douglas is back. Manny, good luck, man. We'll be checking you out. All right. Here we go, everybody. This is what we thought it would be. Well, Sierra Canyon, that is, would be here. Nobody thought Mater Dei, with this team this year coming in, would be in the CIF finals. But here they are, fellas. They've made it.
Well, the 7th seed in the Open Division.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I think that raised some eyebrows that Mater Dei would be the 7th seed. I think there were some thoughts that maybe St. Anthony didn't deserve to have a seed over them. The only seed that was lower than them was Harvard Westlake. So I think there was some talk about, Mater Dei maybe laying in the weeds a little bit. I mentioned it these last couple of weeks, and I thought Mater Dei a year ago showed how they could turn it on in the postseason, and I had no doubt they could do it again this year, and sure enough, that's what they've done. I mean, Aiden Prukop.
I don't know, Bob. I think you had some doubts because, we talked privately. I heard some doubts out of you, man.
At the beginning of the year, I talked to Rich Estrella, and I said the two top teams in Southern California were Sierra Canyon and Mater Dei. Now, I got on the Etiwanda bandwagon, and Etiwanda had some issues last week. They had a lead against Sierra Canyon, then there was a fight in the stands which stalled all their momentum. And to the credit of Sierra Canyon, after the 10-minute break, they came out and went on a 15-0 run or something like that to win the game.
Don't think that fight wasn't planned, right?
I don't know if it was planned or not, but it really hurt Etiwanda. But there's no shock, if you go back to the beginning of the season, that those two teams, Sierra Canyon, trying to win its third straight state championship and win 2 out of 3 in the CIF championships this week. Now, this is the third straight year Mater Dei and Sierra Canyon are hooking up in the CIF finals.
I give Mater Dei, I give them a heck of a chance here. You have to like the size of Breedenbach and Hornery inside. I think that really, and then Devin Askew is just, the way 43 points in the quarterfinal game, 18. They didn't need him as much in that semifinal win over Harvard Westlake. Bad night for Harvard Westlake for sure. In that
they were
game.
horrible, Harvard Westlake. Unfortunately, Mason Hooks got in foul trouble and they couldn't hit anything from the perimeter. But Devin Askew controlled the tempo of the game. And if Mater Dei is going to win the game over Sierra Canyon, the key is Devin Askew. They're very long inside, like you said, so they could cause some problems for Sierra Canyon. But Askew has to control the tempo. If Sierra Canyon gets up and down the floor, the guys like Brandon Boston, Zaire Williams, and Amari Bailey, it'll be a dunk contest. If he can keep it, Askew, the half-court game, Mater Dei's got a legitimate
Don't forget
shot.
Bronny.
I would agree.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good game.
It's the game. I think it's the game everybody thought had a good chance of happening. Rancho Christian was talked about a lot in the preseason. That never really came together for Rancho Christian.
Was this a wild Division I open division this year? I'm telling you, we got into this thing. Sierra Canyon was definitely the front runner, but
for sure.
Truthfully, anybody could have won this thing.
Hey, what I credit, Mater Dei for here is that they won 3 consecutive games on the road in their pool play. And, over the last 2 years, they've had 6 consecutive pool play games on the road, and they're 5-1.
5-1 in those, you're right.
That's just spectacular stuff. And to go to Corona Centennial and win in overtime, then go to Temecula and beat Rancho Christian, then go to Harvard Westlake. Those are 3 tough barns to win in, and Gary McKnight's team got it done.
No, you're right. Gary McKnight and Jason Quinn, who were kind of co-head coaches, so to speak, at Mater Dei. Quinn has a lot more power than most assistant coaches.
He's been there for 25 years.
A long time. But I think they knew what buttons to push again this year for this team. They really have the heartbeat of that team, the pulse of the team really dialed in. So I think they knew what they needed to do to get this Mater Dei team to the finals.
Hang on, Bob.
Is that Coach McKnight calling you right now?
I think somebody's telling you. It's time to move on.
All right, let's move on.
Let's go to Division.
Enough about
take a look at Division I now. All right, there's Windward on top. We were there the other night. And Windward taking on Riverside. Pauley, by the way, Windward was the top seed, as was Sierra Canyon, and both are in the finals. What do you think, Bob?
Well, senior Marcus Joseph has certainly led the way for Windward, the top seed into this matchup. You surprised Riverside Pauley as on the other side there?
No, they're very good. They're balanced. They can hit you from a lot of different directions. I've liked this Windward team, and they won at Jay Sarah last week. And you give them credit. We always talk about how good the Trinity League is, and Windward went there and got a tough, hard-earned victory. And before that, they were able to win at Mayfair. So give the Wildcats all the credit in the world, winning a couple tough road games. We just mentioned that with Mater Dei. Well, Windward is the top seed, has done that. I love the center for Windward and Kanjani Wright. The leader, Devin Tillis, who's on his way to UNLV, is also very good. And Dylan Andrews is an outstanding point guard. That's a young team at Windward. That's going to be a team that Rich is going to have very high next year on his list.
I had him high this year, but
It's going to be even higher next year.
Bob was the one that talked me into
be right
knocking
up
him
there.
down a few notches. I would have had him up there.
Is that an open division team next year?
Very high open division team.
Absolutely. All right, continue on. Let's take a look at, this is Division 2A. Ribbit Academy, 24-3, going up against Hesperia. Nobody saw Hesperia get into the finals, fellas. So it's good for them. As we all know about Ribbit Academy, just going to cover all my bases here on the name. But hey, the Fighting Frogs, man, it's theirs to lose.
Well, Ribbit played that great schedule this year.
They did.
That really shows. We talk about it in football. We can talk about it in basketball, and almost in any sport. I think if you play, that schedule that through the regular season, you might take your lumps, but by the time you get to the postseason, it's really going to come in.
23 ranked in the
handy.
country.
Yeah, no.
Continuing on,
I agree.
continuing on, fellas.
Quick comment there. They only
Go
lost
ahead.
2 games, both of them to the elite. They lost to Sierra Canyon and Rancho Christian, and they were almost an open division team.
Well, those guys are all right, Rancho and Sierra Canyon.
Yeah, they did. They did pretty well.
They had
this
pretty
year.
good years.
Yeah.
Santa Clarita Christian, Bob, that's your team. You had them in our top 10 this year. 23-5 in the finals against St. Francis. St. Francis was not a favorite in this one either, but they are in the finals. Let's continue on. Let's go to the 3A, have a look. We got a lot of ground to cover today,
I know.
fellas. We got wrestling still, man.
We got to get moving.
By the way, Andre
about-
Henry of
we
St.
got-
Francis is very
But
good.
Price
gonna say
is in the
Andre Henry's
finals
really good.
in the 3A division against Shadow Hills. Again, 2 outstanding teams. Forget Price's 8 losses. Again, they had a quality schedule. Shadow Hills just kept on moving, and they look fantastic. All right, continue on 3AA.
Deontay Strange for Shadow Hills, by the way. Watch him, senior.
All right. Salesian and Hillcrest getting into the finals. I can't believe Salesian's in a 3AA finals, fellas. But they're going to take on Hillcrest. That ought to be a good game. Salesian, one of the schools in Los Angeles. Okay, Oakwood taking on St. Pius Matthias. Bob, it's the 4A division. We talked about this. St. Pius just getting back into a regular high school situation.
Isn't it amazing?
They had a football team get to the finals,
did.
and they got a basketball team now in the finals. They're doing something good over there.
Oh, you bet they are.
That's in Downey, by the way. Renaissance Academy against Aquinas, 23-9 against 26-5. Throw out the records. Doesn't mean anything at this point. This is your 4AA final. Let's continue on. Look at the 5A division. Banning taking on Trinity Classical Academy. Now, fellas, I don't know much about Trinity Classical Academy. It seems like, a lot of violins and piano and stuff like that. So classical music, man.
Does that mean when everyone's
stuff.
crying, they'll have the violins?
Beethoven's picture's probably up there and all those
See,
other
I love when a
guys.
16-12 team gets to the CIF.
Well, give them credit for winning in the
Listen,
playoffs.
you don't know what kind of schedule Arrowhead Christian had this year.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and Bishop Diego, 21-11. But see, these are smaller schools. They probably play up in a lot of these tournaments early on.
You have to.
I don't think it has anything to do with their league schedule. All right, let's continue on. What do we have left? And this is the girls' open division. Okay, now we're going to the girls.
There we go.
All right, modern day Windward. Now, Bob, before we move on from here, let's talk about how it is not uncommon. We've seen this year after year where the boys' team and the girls' team get in the fun. We've seen it. Rolling Hills Prep's done it before. Windward's doing it now. Modern Day's in here doing it. Sierra Canyon's done
Canyon
it.
had
There's
the
been
great girls
so
team.
many,
That could have been the final, sure.
so many schools. And again, the Modern Days are both in the finals in the open division.
Yeah, it's, to think that both modern day teams will get to an open division, it's not surprising because of the level of talent, but it's just hard to do. We could talk all day about Brooke Dimitri and how good she's been for
Right.
modern day this year, but Elisa Frescas, I know you want to talk about her too.
Well, I know Frescas is great. I always
Wow.
like to talk about Juju Watkins, the freshman, the 14-year-old at Windward who averages 20 a game. She's brilliant. But, Bob, you can talk to this issue. How great a coaching matchup do we have in that girls' open division? That's phenomenal with those coaches.
Kevin Kiernan, of course, on the modern day side, and you talked to Vanessa Nygaard a week ago when we were out at Windward.
I mean, it's
And what a great
Nygaard
coach
and
she
Kiernan.
is.
You're talking coaches who are elite coaches. So
Yeah.
the coaching is not going to decide this game. Both teams will be
Kiernan
coached up.
Abrea?
It's going to come down to the players.
Kieran was at Troy. Kieran
Yeah.
was at
At
Troy
Troy.
previously,
Yeah.
right? Won championships at Troy, and then came over to Modern Day and hasn't lost a step there. And one of the great coaches anywhere.
Sure.
Forget if it's boys or girls, but I don't
But
care.
was he re-
Basketball coach Kevin Kiernan doesn't get any better
But was
than
he
that.
really great at Troy, or does Troy just have great players? Because let's look at the Division I
Well,
final, and guess
because-
who's in the finals, Bob? It's Troy. And Kiernan's not coaching that team.
You know he loves to see the Warriors back in a.
I don't think he ever won 23 games when he was
Hey,
there.
Melissa Herlihy at Harvard Westlake, she's won a state championship. Her teams are always hanging around the tournament. I'm not surprised to see the Lady Wolverines in there as well.
All right, we got to roll. Let's continue on now. Let's look at Division 2A. And as we continue on looking at the girls, a lot of good basketball. San Clemente, Bishop Vermont, mixing it up in the 2A division.
Real quick, Bishop Vermont went 1-7 in the Delray League.
What's wrong with that?
1-7, and they're in a CIF
But
final.
they break them up in the leagues, though.
Well, what do I tell you every year? You got to come together at the right time, and that is the end of the
Absolutely.
season. That is exactly what Bishop Vermont
I think I told
has
you
done.
that, Bob. Why are you repeating my
that from
dogma?
you?
Yeah, what's the matter?
Down. All right, that was rich.
You knew you heard it somewhere.
Continue it on. 2AA, Orangewood Academy, 25-6, going on against Fairmont Prep. They're 25-6 as well. 2AA division, two very, very academic schools going at it, very cerebral schools. Long Beach Wilson in their first final in a million years, 24-8 going against Eisenhower. Geographically, these guys are as far east and west as you can pretty much get in the 3A division. Continuing on, all that, Long Beach Wilson in the morning, that's a huge school. They got like 5,000 students in that school. Santa Monica taking on Crean Lutheran in the 3AA finals. Let's continue to roll. Both teams obviously had a good schedule, lost the same amount of games. They both deserve each other. Notre Dame Sherman Oaks taking on Paramount. Wow, look at that in the girls 4A final. Looking good. Out in the valley there, Randy.
It's good for the Mission League to get one of their teams into the championship.
Notre Dame Sherman Oaks not in the city section.
Well, I don't know, because there's CIF Southern Section School. By the way, that's actually two schools, because Harvard Westlake out of the Mission League. So that's two Mission League schools
I just want to
reaching
throw that
championships.
out there. Cause some trouble. All right, Paloma Valley taking on Ontario Christian in the 4AA as we continue to roll and bringing the girls finals. All right, so now we're looking at the 5A. Ganesha taking on Bishop Diego, two evenly matched schools. And then in the 5AA, San Jacinto Valley taking on Artesia High School. It's pretty big news for the girls getting in a final like that. We know the boys were winning at one time, but we all know why.
Right.
And,
Artesia had their day in boys basketball.
Did they take away all those records or something like that? I don't know. That's a lot of crazy stuff. We could talk about that later. That's another show we do around table.
Bishop Diego, boys and girls,
Yep.
in the finals.
But anyways,
for that high school.
There is a look at your basketball finals, man. Get out this week and support everybody. And don't forget, after this weekend, the next couple of weeks, we'll be talking about state. So you're going to see a lot of these schools in the state.
Oh,
Randy,
city.
do it.
Oh, I'm
Wait a
excited.
Wait a minute. Am I deja vu all over again?
This is the year of parity in the LA City section. Anything could happen.
And
it could be two teams we've never heard of. Oh, wait a minute.
We've never heard
It's
of.
Fairfax and Westchester for the third straight year.
Unbelievable.
That's-
Fairfax number 1, Westchester number 2. The Lions defeated the Comets twice during the regular season. The last game, very close. The first game, not so much. Fairfax is very balanced. They have a tremendous team. I really like Dinwiddie. I've been talking about him all season long, but Dudley, the other guard, can really fill it up, and Justin Gladney, a third guard, is very, very solid. Westchester is big, strong, and physical. I do like Kamani Pollard. He's a senior veteran guard that's really come on for the Comets. Again, this is going to be a grinder. This is going to be a defensive slugfest. Now,
Do I need to say this again? Do I need to say it again?
Fairfax
this is
is the
going to be a
favorite,
blowout.
though.
I said last year it was going to be a blowout, and it was. It's going to be another blowout this year.
Hey, I'm doing this game on KDOC TV.
All
It
right.
can't be a blowout.
I'm
I
gonna
need a
watch
close
that, Randy.
game.
And I'm going to be texting you and calling your phone during that game.
Come on, it's going to be
Let me ask
close.
you, Randy, real quick, because this has been a storyline for 25 years, I think, going on. That Ed Azam is ready to retire and move on from coaching basketball. Do you think if Westchester was to pull off this minor upset, it would still be an upset, he might finally say, hey, go out on a high note, this would be it for Ed?
Well, he was asked at the game. I saw a parent.
He's asked every
I know.
year.
I saw a parent come up to him and said, "Are you retiring?" And he looked at the guy like, "I haven't made any decisions yet."
No.
So he says that every year. I asked Ed with 4 minutes to go in the game. I was sitting right next to him. I said, "Do you really want to give this up? You're in your 40th year. You're having fun." He looks at me and goes, "Look at me, Randy. I'm a mess. I hate coaching in the games. However, I love teaching the kids." And I love the practices.
He likes that paycheck. Come on, what are you talking about?
He's
man?
coming
Let
back.
the guy
I
get a
think
job.
Ed'll come
Make
back.
that kind
I
of
won't
money.
let him retire. He's too good for the city.
He's too good a guy and too good a coach.
He's too
He's
good a
not
guy.
going anywhere.
Yeah.
All right, let's roll out, guys. We're running out of time.
All right, here we go.
Storyline here is Elijah Queen. He's a football great wide receiver for Narbonne. Not eligible because of the tumult they had there with Manuel Douglas, and they weren't eligible. Well, Narbonne, he could win a city title in basketball. Elijah's a very good player. Marshall, we're looking at a boys Division II game. CES, Los Angeles, a lot of talent. Marshall can shoot the basketball. Should be a very entertaining game. We're moving through these nicely.
We got to roll, baby.
And we got Marquez and Central City Value. I like Central City Value there. You can see the discrepancy in the
Bob likes
records
Central.
during
They
the
like
regular
those
season.
I
guys.
have no
too,
idea
Bob.
what that school
Yeah,
is.
you
I'll be
do. Come
honest.
on, we
Central
were
City
talking
Value.
about
I got to
it.
check
We were
that. I got to
talking
look that
about
one
it.
up afterwards.
Palisades is your number 1 seed. Hamilton's your number 3 on the girls' side. Pauley is really good. They got Jane Nawaba inside. Kennedy Rankin will play on the other side. She's a very good player as well for the Hamilton Yankees. Division I, this has been a division over the years that has been completely controlled by Westchester. We'll see which champion comes from this division, D1. As we move forward, Marshall, they're top ranked. This is a very intriguing game, I think. Marshall's a basketball team that I think could be in danger here. Los Angeles CES, again, is from that same Western League with Palisades and Hamilton and Westchester. That's going to be a very tough game. And here again, Marquez, Central City Value, another entertaining girls game. This one could go either way, kind of like Central City Value there. You can see their record is pretty good. They've had a quality season. These are some of the top city games that we're going to have this week, spread out. The finals are going to be at LA Southwest, some of the lower classifications at other sites.
All right, let's go to Carlos Pena now. We're running out of time here. Carlos Pena went to the Masters meet this week for the CIF Wrestling, and let's see what Carlos was up to.
Hey, how you doing? I'm here with Jesse Vasquez, 3-time CIF California State Champion, currently at 145. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. The energy out here in Sonora High School, it's incredible. How do you prepare for something like this?
I think it's just focusing on having fun. Like everyone has the tools and knows what to do in a wrestling match. It's just application at that point. So if you're having fun with it, feeling good in your own skin, and just wrestling for yourself, don't wrestle for anybody else, wrestle for yourself, because it's your life, it's your career. So I think just making sure you bring some energy into your game it's really important. So that's how I do it, have fun.
How do you prepare for a tournament like this?
Oh, it's mentality. You got to have that Mamba mentality, like top percentile kind of mentality. Like when the tournament starts before you even walk in these doors, like I'm sitting in the stands before weigh-ins in my own zone with my music in, just staring at everyone, walking in those doors and comparing myself. Like I know in my head I'm better than everybody, or I have to, or else I've already been defeated. It's not anything to do with like cockiness or arrogance, but it's just you have to have that confidence, So preparing it's with my coaches, and it's just a multitude of factors. You just gotta put in the work. You're destined for success at some point.
Right. Now you transferred up to the High Desert Excelsior Independent School. Has that school allowed you time to train?
Oh my gosh, not necessarily time to train, but train in the way that I need to. We're training like the top percentile athletes. I can't be sitting in a classroom 6 hours a day, wasting my life when teachers don't really care about me, and then you get to wrestling practice and most of these guys are unmotivated, not as motivated as I am when I come into practice, because they've had a long day or so. I think Excelsior has provided me with the opportunity to do things independently in my own way, and I've been trying to design this for the future of these student athletes. Like, you have no idea how many little kids are in the stands right now that are going to follow in my footsteps and continue what I've left down.
Right.
Yeah.
What does the future hold for you?
I mean, I want to be a 4-time NCAA champ, 2-time Olympic world medalist. I want to be a billionaire. I want to be rich, filthy rich. Get my mom a nice mansion. Get my dad a nice yacht. Because they put in the work for me, they've been my #1 supporters. When you get to this point in my life, you realize you don't have very many people supporting you by your side fully 100%, So for the people in my family, I want to make sure that they're provided for because they provided for me.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I wish you luck. It's been an incredible journey for you. Awesome career. Any idea what college you're going to yet?
I have a lot of options right now, but I have a few.
You don't have to say anything right
I have
now.
a few in mind. I've got offers from like Princeton, Duke, Cornell, Ohio State. You name the school, I pretty much have gotten a message from them. But I want to take my talents to somewhere that's going to get me a degree, and I want to make a lot of money after. The wrestling is a fraction of your life, and I've honestly dedicated my whole life to being good at this sport, to ultimately become the best in whatever business field I want to do, So I have no idea what I want to do yet, but that's what it is for now.
Awesome. Well, good luck to you again.
Can I say
Thank you
something
very
to the
much.
people?
Of course you can.
All right, it's an arduous ride, but don't stress, finesse.
All right, thanks a lot, Carlos. Nice report, man. The CIF Masters, those are some of the baddest dudes in high school. All right, let's take a look at the CIF Masters champions. All these guys are going to state next week. Let's take a look starting the 106-pound class from Palm Desert. Bo Mantanoma was the winner at 106 pounds. Zeth Rami at 113. Max Martinez, 120-pound class from Bosco. Then Tim Levine from Bosco, 126-pound champion. 132-pound champion. Nico Reese from Bosco. From Roland was Alex Ramirez at the 138-pound class. 145 pounds was Jesse Vasquez from Excelsior. He's going to go for another state championship this year, fellas. He's just great. 152-pound class, Sonny Santiago from Bosco. One CIF. KL Valencia from Bosco, 160-pound champion.
Sounds like St. John Bosco has a shot at the team title.
Valor Buck from Servite, 170-pound champion. Nathan Haas from Bosco, 182-pound class. Guillermo Escobedo from Los Altos, 195. Brandon Leon from Roosevelt, 220-pound class. And the big man, Malachi Lyles from Mayfair, is the big man champion. He's the baddest dude of all these guys. He could crush anybody at 285 pounds.
I don't doubt it for a
probably
second.
weighs 320. All right, guys. Hey, real quick, I want to touch on Kobe Bryant. They had a celebration of life for him yesterday. Man, what a eulogy. Not only his wife gave, but Michael Jordan. My Lord, you know. There's the meme he said he didn't want to be part of ever again. That's where we're at. But
Jordan
it was a great job, fellas.
I thought that's as real as we've ever seen Michael Jordan.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know, looking at Kobe as his little brother and how he tried to guide him and all the banter back and forth late at night on the telephone, that was just some wonderful stuff.
The best one-liner was Shaq. Kobe, there's no I in team.
Right,
He says,
yeah.
yeah, but there's an
There's
M and
an
an
M
E,
and
there's
E.
a me. Hey, look, we got to run now. A very busy week. Look forward to talking to everybody next week. We'll bring you an update of who the side champions are in basketball and what's going on up at state with the wrestlers because they're going to start next week. But right now we're going to leave you with the CIF Southern Section Soccer Playoff schedule and what's going on. We'll see y'all next week.